Hey guys, PJ here with Best Sound for Video. Today, like always, we'll be making sound better. I'll be explaining the 4 biggest mistakes when recording sound, whether it is being in your home studio, in your room, or in exteriors, and hopefully we can all learn something useful to increase the sound quality in our recording. And if you want to receive future notifications on videos that can help you achieve better sound, make sure to click that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing and put all the notifications on. And without hesitation, let's jump right into it. The 4 biggest mistakes when recording sound usually are not the ones that you believe, which is going to be, for example, the settings of the microphone, or it's going to be any technical spec on your camera. Besides that, which can be some trouble, can give you some trouble. It's going to be more abstract things. For example, listening. There's a lot of people that do not listen when they record videos, and this is one of the biggest mistakes I see people doing. That was the first thing that 12 years ago when I was in audio school, the first thing they taught me was listen. Listen to what you are recording, listen to what's being recorded, or listen to the playback of those recordings. Because otherwise you cannot make changes in case that something happened. Something like, for example, background noise. Background noise, it's one of our biggest enemies at the time of recording sound. Let me demonstrate, for example, what would happen if you left a fan on the ceiling running while you are recording your videos. And now the fan is starting. You should feel and hear the background noise changing, or the room tone, as we call it, changing and making higher noise. Now I can start feeling the air. As you can see, everything, in my opinion, is changed. So it will be more difficult to cut in between scenes, or to cut without the viewer noticing that you change your background. The same thing happens if you have something on and then you turn it off. Now, if this is the case, you should definitely record the sound of the fan separated from your noise and loop it on your videos, so in post you can level that background sound without making too much of a difference in your room tone. Whereas a sentence will be like you're listening to right now, and the other one will be with the fan on. That means that the viewer is hearing and when the room tone changes, it's really difficult to focus on the information that's being delivered. So I will say that please listen to your recordings. Not listening to a recording when you are doing a video or making a video, or you are making an interview, recording an interview or a podcast or voiceover. It's like when you are shooting a scene and you are not looking at the monitor of the camera. Everyone likes, that's the first thing I see on the YouTube videos, that the problem is that they cannot see themselves when using the back camera of the phone, for example. So with sound, it translates exactly the same. If you are not listening to your recordings, it's a problem because you don't know what's going on, and the same setup won't work for all the situations unless you are always recording in the same place. Meaning, if you are always recording in your room and you have no problem with any street noises or music on the background, that's great. Kind of you can use the same setup, adjusting and always listening, just in case. Better safe than sorry. Than if you were, for example, let's say outside on exterior shoot. And now let me open the window and you can hear and feel that the background has considerably changed as well. Now, this is me talking with the window open. So throughout this first part of the video, I will leave the window open and you will feel how certain sounds come into the room, bounces around the room and gets into our microphones. We want to avoid that. So by having the same setup always, I mean windows always closed. If you have curtains, the curtains can muffle the sound and can make those reflections disappear or dissipate better. Also, having background music is not a good idea. Or if somebody is listening to music in the room next to you and I can hear Mr. Bruno or Mr. Limp Bizkit or any rock music, and it's songs that everyone know, those songs will have the feel in your, you can hear, so you can hear now the birds and you can hear different children playing on the background, cars passing by. These are the things that you will hear normally hear when you are making a sound recording. That's why we, the professional sound mixers on videos, on movies and television, we always look for these things. Refrigerators that can change the hum. The refrigerator, for example, I have a refrigerator here at home that when it makes ice, the hum changes as the engine of the refrigerator is working harder, the AC motor. So that will be a change on the background noise, therefore making it hard for our folks in post. And we don't want that. We want to always have the same constant background. I hope that you hear that. That's the beginning of the car. And now the tail of the car leaving, it's going to be on my recording, but because I'm talking over it, you won't feel as much change into it. The problem is in between words. In between words, the feel will change, and that's what you want to avoid. Another problem is that people usually don't trust their ears because they are not trained for this type of noises. Well, if you're gonna be making videos, you may as well train your ears to listen for those little sounds like I explained before: birds, children's, car, machinery outside, construction. There is many examples that I can provide. The window is still open, so you're gonna hear some sounds, and now I'm gonna close it so we can feel a better room tone on the room. Let's close it. Okay, now the room tone has changed and the feel of the video, of the sound being delivered to the microphone capsule is different. And this is what I mean by keeping a constant background. You should always keep a constant background, as your videos will increase in quality and the sound it's more professional. So it depends also on the microphones and all the technicalities of the gear equipment that you're using. You will get better or worse results, which we'll dive right into it in the next part of the video. One good question to start addressing these problems should be, or would be, what should I listen to? This is the question that most of my friends ask me when they're recording their own videos. What should I be aware of? What should I listen to? Well, you should be listening to noises that are gonna get into your recordings. One thing and one tip that I can give you is that if your microphone preamp has a gain, you shouldn't raise the gain when there is a noisier environment. Why? Because raising the gain will also raise the noise and the background noise and the room tone and the wind and everything that's coming right into it. So I would strongly suggest that you set up a good gain and address those problems before you start recording. Meaning, if you have a construction outside, it's difficult to focus on the video that you are doing as well. But there is one little trick that we use in film and television, which is film, not in film so much, but in television or in interviews or reality television, we use it a lot. And it's you address the problem that you're having on camera. So if I were to have a construction right outside my window with a jackhammer or a drill that is getting into my recording, I could say on the video something like on the lines of, oh, there is construction outside, or sorry for the construction outside. You have a visual reason to show that there is bad sound. Therefore making the viewer get focus more into the information, whereas if you don't say anything and the background is changing, the viewer will literally stop paying attention to what you're saying and focusing more on the noises that are happening on the background when you're talking. The next thing I wanted to address is the mic position and a proper gain staging. I've talked about this in other videos and I will keep talking about it because it's like really super important, and there is way more than a 40-minute video for this. But the mic gain will definitely be up or play a very important part. You see, so now we have cars, people going on the other rooms. This is what I mean. You should stop and then readdress the, you should stop, address the problem, and then keep shooting. If you try to talk over the noise, what that's gonna do is that, first of all, it's gonna raise your voice level. When you raise your voice level, you need to adjust later on in post, therefore creating a need to spend more time trying to fix those vocals. Whereas if you have a constant plain background or room tone or noise floor, it won't create as many differences on the background. Think about your mic as a flashlight. That's how I like to teach my friends that are more video related than sound. You want to point the mic to the center cavity of the chest where the resonance is happening, and it's not as throaty as if it was on the neck. On the neck we get very throaty sounds. We get very low tones are definitely shining more than the resonant, like the natural resonant cavity of the chest. So if you have a flashlight, you always want to aim this flashlight to your chest. Meaning, if you were to have a mic here, which we see it's on camera, it's literally on camera, you want to have it right above the frame line. Okay, so it will be right here, and then move it a little bit away from you and point it back. So move it away from you and point it back. Why? You want to do this in case I start moving around. For example, when I make interviews and the subject starts moving around, crossing their legs, making hand noises, all these things can be addressed by putting a proper position on the mic. So you won't feel that the sound pressure level or the vocal tonality that's getting into the mic is not changing dramatically. Because if I were, for example, to put the mic away from me and start talking like this, you will definitely hear you will definitely hear a change on the tonality of the mic, and we don't want that. Let me just readdress this just to make sure. I'll explain proper miking positions and how to get the best of our laughs. Some people ask me, should I put the laugh down? Should I put it up? Should I put it left, right? It doesn't matter because it's an omnidirectional mic. So, but I'll get into that later on. Another thing that I wanted to mention related to the mic gain and proper positioning is do not change the position of the mic while you are recording if you are not changing your frame. Why? If you change the position of the mic in the middle of the recording, definitely is going to be a noticeable change in the tonality, and that's going to make your viewer the focus of your viewer away from your video as well. And we want to keep it as constant as possible. I know that sometimes just using the same shot over and over and over can get a little bit boring. But if you're going to address different positions on your camera, you should also adjust for your microphone always on the same position, always from the same perspective on camera. Meaning, so for example, let me put it this way. In the first shot, we are 3 feet away. But in the second shot, we want to put our camera 5 feet away and keep the microphone at 3 feet away. That will be okay because it's a constant sound. But if you're going to change the microphone with the camera to 5 feet away, there will be a change in tonality. So that change will create problems at the time that we are going to start working with this sound in post-production. Another thing I wanted to address is the proximity effect. The proximity effect of a microphone is when you are too close to the mic and then you are too far away. So for example, if I were to really start speaking like this, you will hear that the proximity effect has greatly changed and can you say that this is a better sound quality? I don't think so. A better sound quality should be ruled by many other factors that is not getting the mic closer to your mouth. First of all, being a proper gain staging and always modulating between -12 and -6 dBs. So you have enough headroom to later play with it in post, if you want to call it that way. Another question that I usually get is, what's the best format to record in? What's the best file format, being AAC, PCM, or AIFF? Well, different formats have different ways of responding to video and audio softwares, for example, or in our phone applications. I was reading the other day, the application that I'm using is Filmic, and in Filmic Pro, they advise you to use AAC format when recording sound, no PCM or AIFF. Why? Because when you are translating your files into Premiere, it can give you problems if you are using something else that is not AAC. Usually you can find this information in your video software website or in the PDF of your manual, or for that matter, the website or the official book of the video software that you are using, and they will say what's the best format they like to have when ingesting footage. Now, I wanted to also explain a little bit, not very technical into it, what's the sample rate that we should use. Some people think that it's better to use 44.1 sample rate or 44.1 kilohertz sample rate when we're recording our sound. We can definitely, in most of the applications and the video cameras that we have today, we have the option to put 48K, which is the standard for sound. Why? Because if you were to go above 48K, you will be having problems at the time of editing your video, as the audio can be very heavy in the session, and that will create problems in sync and glitches and many other things. Now, 48K should give us a bigger quality in our sound than 44.1, as the number is higher. So that means that we are getting 48 kilohertz of sampling per second of our recording. And that is gonna be because most of our equipment or professional equipment allows for 48K, but it won't allow for 96K. 96K, there is a lot of sound information in those recordings, making it more difficult for our software to go back and forth. And our recordings, it's not that it matters, because sound is a really small in size recording. It's great to record sound effects and have your all wild track sounds, because it won't take much space from your hard drive. But we will get into that on another video. That it's correlated to the bit rate. The bit rate is the amount of information that you can store within the same recording. Let me put it on a simple way. Bits are, let's put it as let me put it this way. Bits is the amount of information we can record, or we can have, or digitalize in our videos, right? In our videos, I mean the cameras. So using a 24-bit recording, which is the maximum allowed, I believe, for sound on the cameras, in all professional cameras, will give us the best results. Don't go to 16-bit. The professional and the most standard way of recording is 24-bit 48K. Being 48K double of 24, you can kind of learn this. So make sure that your settings are always 24-bit 48K, and you'll be good to go. And last but not least, I wanted to talk about a serious issue for me when I talk to many of my videographer friends, directors of photography or similar. It's not that they are the same, but camera operators, etc., which is that they don't know their gear. Many videos I've been looking at too, they seem to speak without knowing really the specs of the gear, or without knowing what the capabilities of that piece of equipment can do. I'm not talking right now about wireless technology, because that's, again, another whole full different video. But if you don't know, for example, if you're using Sennheiser G3s, which is for us professional sound mixers below the standard for wireless, it's a pro user, I would say, because they claim that it's true diversity, but it's not. That's another video that I'll explain what's a true diversity versus a non-true diversity wireless system. But you should really know what all those settings are, such as the input of the microphone. Is your microphone wired properly? Maybe you have a high quality microphone, a lavalier, and it's losing or it's clicking and popping and giving you problems because the wiring inside of the connector is not properly done. You should be aware of all the settings that you are using when you are recording or transmitting wirelessly. Whereas if we don't learn the specs and we just play with it and use the same setting for everything, we're definitely going to run into problems. What kind of problems? Well, Let me explain something that it's well known in the business, is that the gear, the equipment will fail you when you need it most. So when you are trying to capture that moment on a documentary or on a TV series that the actor is not even, there is stuff being said that wasn't rehearsed, and you want to capture that, and you start having problems with the mic, nobody wants to cut that scene and try to adjust the mic. So you have to make sure that before you start recording or shooting something important, an interview or somebody that doesn't have a long time with you, and you need to get the most amount of information in the shortest time possible, you want to make sure you understand your gear. In case there is a problem, you can quickly fix it. Most of the people that I know, they don't know how to fix it if there is, for example, a glitch in the transmission of the wireless technology that they're using, being Sennheiser G3s, being the Boya microphones, which are really cheap, I believe 70 or 80 bucks per system, which I'll try to buy one and give you my review, what I think about it, as well as some more of the comparisons and better wireless systems. But you should definitely know what the settings available to you are, so you can maximize your sound recording quality. A good thing to do is go into the official website of the manufacturer of the gear that you're using and look through the audio menu. So looking and reading about the audio menu will give you a broader perspective on what you're about to use. I will strongly recommend that if you don't understand any terms, you Google them. I will strongly recommend that you ask your sound mixer or your sound person if you have any doubts about what can be done or the possibilities that you have when you are going to record with your camera. For example, the distances between the camera and the microphones that you have on top. If you're using, for example, a Rode video mic, any of the specs, which I actually made a video for it, so you can see my perspective on the Rode video mic series. But if you're using a Rode video mic, you should know how far away you can be before losing the tonality that you want to keep in all your videos. Again, this is about So now that was a great example. If you heard that bike going from right in front of my window, I will have cut from when the bike started to now, when the background is the same. I'm just gonna let it ride just so you can see the difference. But you should be aware of all these things. And yes, it's the weirdest moment when you are rolling and some sounds happen and everyone has to wait. Me as a sound mixer, it's my job, it's what I do best, to ask people to please hold while we are having problems with the sound, because it will change the background. So if I were to deliver precious information while that was going on, it would have been a tremendous change in the attention of the viewer. I'm just gonna let all this ride for the purpose of this video, even though it kills me on the inside. But it's not, it's not that last sound, which was a pipe that goes all the way down from outside of my window, that would have been a killer. So that would have definitely been a stop in a professional recording, making the whole team stop. When I say making the whole team, it's like, yes, I've stopped crews of 100 and 150 people just because there was sounds that I didn't like. Now, this you have to address by yourself. How important is the information that you are delivering at the time that the noise is happening? And if you can avoid it with a good planning, even better. So that's it for today, guys. As you can hear, there is stuff going on outside the window. I just wanted to address these 4 points, which are really important for me at the time of recording sound and or teaching somebody what they should be looking out for when recording their sound. If you like the video, please don't be shy. Subscribe, press that like button, and help us get to the next milestone on YouTube, for the YouTube algorithm. And hope to see you soon.